do an art project together with the same simple materials that we used before. We're going to be using crayons. We're also going to be drawing a little bit today, so have a pencil ready to go. Also, if you have a black permanent marker, or even a black ink pen will work for doing some outlining today. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a piece of paper. Here's an example of the artwork that we're doing today. We're going to do some nice spring flowers. We're going to use crayons to shade, and we're going to learn a little bit about color theory today. So that's going to be pretty fun. First thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start to draw my flowers. I want to make sure that my paper is positioned up and down in portrait view, so that way it's nice and tall in front of me. And I'm going to start on the top half of my paper. I'm going to ignore the bottom half of my paper for right now. I know my webcam doesn't pick up the entirety of the piece of paper, but I'm going to try to ignore this bottom half of the paper. If you need help figuring out where to stop, take an art supply or something and put it in the middle of your paper. So that way you know not to draw anything underneath that art supply. I'm going to use a penny to help draw the center of my flowers. I'm going to put that penny down on the piece of paper. And anywhere up here, I'm going to draw 3 flowers. I'm going to put my first one about right here, and I'm just going to trace it by holding it down and using my pencil to trace this circle. Alright, so after we get done with these circles, we're going to go ahead and add our flower petals to these. Now, you can draw your flower petals differently than what I do. I'm going to show you a little secret though. I want to make sure I have 5 petals. So I'm going to actually take, and I'm going to make these look like little sunshines. So I'm going to take a little bit of a line, and I'm going to make a little line out like this, and I'm going to make 10 of these lines that go around my project. I'm going to use those to help create my flower petals. I'm going to start with these little lines, and I'm going to make another line come out. I'm going to make it longer. And I want to make sure that when I draw these lines, they get a little bit farther apart from each other. And then I'm going to turn and curve them around and bring them back to touch one another. So it gets a little bit wider at the end of the flower petal as I go. So you can make those kind of come out like that. And in the inside, I'm going to do a long line, a short line, and a short line, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and repeat those steps on my other 2 flowers as well. For this last flower, a lot of my flower petals are going to be overlapping, so that one's going to disappear behind that flower. This one's actually going to disappear too, but you might see a little bit of the flower back here. So you might have to think about how you can make your flower petals look like they're hiding behind other flowers. One thing I'm also going to do is I'm just going to add some little polka dots, just a few, inside the center of my flowers. Now our flowers are done. We're going to go ahead and move on to a flower vase. So we're going to go to the bottom of our page now. And near the bottom, I'm going to make a line that's probably about the size of my pinky finger. Not much longer than that. I'm going to make it just the slightest bit of a smiley face. So when I go down here, I'm just going to curve it down just a little bit. So it looks like it has a little dip in it. Just like that. And a little dip. Then I'm going to bring 2 lines down from the edge. Just 2 straight lines like this. Just fall straight down towards the bottom of your page. And after I draw those 2 lines, I'm going to make some curved lines. The first line I'm going to make is kind of like a letter C. It's going to be, we're going to make it on this side, kind of like a letter C. It's going to dent in just a little bit and then dent back out like that, kind of like a C. And on the other side, I'm going to do the same exact thing, but I'm going to go the opposite direction and curve it in. So it gets a little bit closer, and you can always look at them and try to make them about the same if you can. If not, it's okay. It'll be alright. And towards the bottom of our flower vase, we're going to take this line and we're just going to curve it back the other way and kind of diagonal it down towards the bottom of the paper. Do the exact same thing on the other side. What we're going to do is we're going to repeat that little smiley face that we did at the top of the vase down here at the bottom by just connecting with a little bit of a curve. That'll make our flower vase look three-dimensional, make it look like it's actually kind of popping out of the page a little bit there. Once we get our flower vase done, we're going to add the stems and the leaves to this. So you can actually take some stems from your flowers. You can bring these stems down into the flower vase and we'll make two lines kind of curve down and disappear in the flower vase. Make one come from this flower way up here. Make this come down into our flower vase, kind of making it come into the center here. And two curved lines come down from this flower into the flower vase. So now I'm going to add some leaves. I'm just going to make a bunch of large leaves kind of peeking out the back here. So I'm going to start, you can see on this one, I made mine kind of closer together, but I'm going to make some leaves that kind of stick out from inside the flowers there. So my first one, I'm just going to put it over here, and I'm just going to make a line that curves out to a point, then it's going to curve back, and I want to leave that point there so that my leaf can come through. If you want your leaf to show into your background a little bit, if your leaf continues down through here, remember, we're going to have overlapping, so we can continue to draw some of this leaf that comes behind our flowers. Once you've got your leaf where you like it, you can draw a line down the middle of your leaf and some diagonal lines that stick out from your leaf to give it a little bit of texture, showing those veins inside the leaves. I'm just going to repeat that same step a bunch of times all around my flowers here. Once I'm done doing that, I'm going to switch over to a black permanent marker. And I'm going to use this black permanent marker to go ahead and trace over all of my pencil lines. What this is going to do is it's going to create good contrast, because in comparison from the white paper, it's going to be really easy to see this black marker once I get all this trace and once I add the color to my project using my crayons. I'm going to take this black marker and I'm going to carefully trace over all my pencil lines. I don't want to go too slow, but I don't want to go too fast and get off of my pencil lines. If you accidentally go off your lines a little bit, it's perfectly fine. It'll be okay, because I'm going to show you a little bit of an art trick here in just a moment. That way we can get rid of all our old pencil lines. No one will be able to see any mistakes that you've made. Once I get those completed, I'm actually going to add some design to my flower vase. I'm just going to make some lines. I'm going to make the lines curve though, like smiley faces. So I'm going to add a line here that curves across, like a little smiley face, just to give it a little bit more detail. If you wanted to add even more to this, you could add zigzag lines in some of these spaces. You could draw spirals or create different details on your vase. That's totally up to you. I'm going to leave mine just like that. Since I've got my black marker, I'm going to go ahead and sign this artwork here before we add colors. So if you have an artist's signature that you've practiced or you've worked on, you can add your artist's signature to this. What I'm going to do now is an artist trick that I like to teach my students. If you take an eraser, I've got this Sargent Art eraser here, this drawing eraser, but you can also use the eraser off the back of your pencil if you've got one, or one of those like cap erasers that are on the top of your pencil. Anywhere that I see that I may have messed up by going outside of my lines with my Sharpie, black permanent marker, I'm going to take this eraser, I'm just going to go over the artwork, the eraser, and it'll get rid of any pencil lines. I've got it outlined, I've got it cleaned up. Now let's add some color. This is going to be fun. We are actually going to study a bit of color theory. So I've got my color notes right here. Color theory is actually the science of color. We're going to talk about something in particular called a triadic color scheme. And all that is we're going to choose 3 colors on our color wheel that are equally spaced. Triadic means that you use 3 colors that are equally spaced. So if I put this little triangle on here, I can see that the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, if I use those 3 colors, I'll have a triadic color scheme on my picture. If I turn this triangle on the wheel to the next colors, I'll find out that purple, orange, and green are the secondary colors, and they are also a triadic color scheme. I can show you guys, I've got another image of a triadic color scheme color wheel here. I'm going to go ahead and share it with you. So here, popping up on your screen shortly, should be a triadic color scheme, a color wheel. But you can see it has that same triangle concept. You take those 3 colors, they're equally spaced apart, and you'll get a triadic color scheme. Here is a living room that somebody used triadic color scheme to decorate, which triadic color schemes are they're very contrasting in colors because they're pretty far apart on your color wheel. So it creates that a little bit of a wow factor, and it creates these very vibrant colors. And so you can see in that picture how some of those colors like just jump right out at you. I'm going to use the secondary colors for my triadic color scheme, but you can choose whichever triadic. If you want to do primary colors and do red, yellow, and blue, you could do those as well. I'm going to choose the secondaries. I'm going to choose violet, orange, and green. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out my orange crayon, and I'm going to do something else. I'm actually going to pick the colors that are next to it. I'm going to not only take orange, but next to it on the color wheel are 2 other colors. There's red orange, and there is yellow orange. If you don't have all 3 of these colors, that's perfectly fine. If you just dig through your crayons and try to find a dark orange and a light orange, that will work just fine for this project. I'm going to use 3 on mine, but you can use as many or as little as you like. You could do this whole thing in orange too, and just change your color values. I'll show you. If I start with the lightest color, start with my yellow orange because it's my lightest orange that I have. I'm going to start by coloring the edge of my flower petals with this light orange color. If you chose primary colors and you're trying to find colors that are lighter, I've got my red right here. You could use pink as a lighter version of red. And you could use this red violet as like a darker version of red if you wanted to do that with your flowers. That would look pretty cool too. We'll switch to my regular orange crayon. I'm going to do the middle of the flower petal. And like we did before, we're going to overlap a little bit into the yellow orange. I'm going to leave a little bit of space that's white in the inside there where the flower petal meets the middle of the flower. I'm gonna take my red orange now, and right in the middle here, I'm gonna make this darker. So I'm gonna push a little bit harder, and then I'm gonna let my crayon overlap into that orange just a little bit, and then I'm gonna push lighter as I go, because I don't want it to be too dark there in the middle. And you'll see that your orange fades out with your flower petals. Now, since I've got one of those flowers done, I'm going to repeat the same exact steps on the other two flowers. I'm going to take a brown crayon. I'm just going to add this brown into the inside. Now, brown isn't technically part of our color scheme, but since it's called a neutral color, you can use a little bit of brown in here and it's not going to affect your color scheme. So I'm going to make a dark kind of circle in the outside edges of the middle. And then I'm going to try to make it to where it's a little bit lighter in the middle. So I'm just going to not press as hard in the middle. So I'm going to make some dark circles for brown. And then get lighter towards the middle. It'll make it look like it has a little bit of a highlight. It makes it look more three-dimensional when you add your colors that way. Here we go. Now I'm going to do the leaves of my flowers. I'm going to switch to green. I'm going to use two different kinds of green. I'm going to use a very light green. I've got green yellow right here that I found in my crayon box. And I've got regular green. I'm going to start my leaves by doing very light green on the edge right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this dark green, and near the middle I'm going to have the dark green come and bump in and overlap a little bit of that light green, and I want it to kind of fade into that other color. And when you get back down here to the back of the leaves, you can really darken it up. I'm going to just make these leaves really dark here in the back. You can actually use that same light green to color in your stems of your flowers. But if you have chosen different colors, you can choose any colors that you chose from your triadic color scheme to put in here. Your leaves do not have to be green. That's the cool thing about art too, is you can change colors of things to make it fit your color choices. So if these leaves are gonna be, maybe they're pink and red leaves, I don't know, you chose the colors, you get to decide. Back here in the farthest parts, I'm just kind of pushing hard and making this dark green back here. I'm going to go through and do all my light green first. Switching back to the dark green and fade in these colors. You can see how nice that green against that orange. That orange just pops right out of the paper once you put that green next to it. What I'm also going to do too is I'm going to take this dark green and I'm going to put it in all of these spaces in between my flowers in here where all these leaves kind of come together. I'm just going to darken that up and just make that all dark green right there. That'll We're going to go ahead and color our flower vase. Here, I got an example of what I did before. I'm going to choose my other color, which is violet, from my triadic color scheme. So I've got my violet here. It's hard to tell the difference sometimes. You really got to read these. This is violet. This is my middle color. And I'm going to choose a darker color, which is actually this. It looks just like purple, looks like violet, but it says on the wrap that it's blue violet. It's going to show up much darker. So I'm going to put that one there. And I actually have red violet here that I'm going to use as my lighter color. So I've got these 3 colors that I'm going to use. If you don't have these 3 colors, that's okay. You can just use violet, and I can show you a trick with how you can make yours a little bit darker. I'm going to first show the little color blend here. So I'm going to choose red violet first. And on one side, the side that I want to be in the light or the lighter side, which is going to be this side for me, I'm going to turn my paper so it's easier for me. And I'm just going to go in the same direction. And just this side, I'm going to fill it in lightly with this red violet. Then I'm going to switch over to my regular violet purple. In the middle of the vase, I'm going to do the same thing, just like I did with the orange on my flowers and the green. I'm going to overlap the red violet a little bit to let them blend. The last thing I'm going to do is switch to my blue violet and do the same thing on this side. Bring the blue violet over, same direction, and overlap the regular violet right there in that section. If you're one of those people watching at home that doesn't have these 3 combos of colors, what you can do is you can take just the violet. You can start on one side of your vase, push really light. As you go across your vase, push a little bit harder, until you're pushing super hard over on the other side. So that way, what will happen is your color will get darker and darker as you go across. And you can always go back over it lightly to smoothen up some of those colors. So I just did that with just the purple, made it really light on this side, and as I went across, I started pushing harder and harder and harder. That way it would make it darker. I'm going to do the same thing down here. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my orange. In these 2 spaces that I got left, since orange is still part of my color scheme, I'm going to go ahead and add the orange to it. You could even add green to it if you'd like to, because those are part of your color scheme. I'm going to use the yellow orange on this side. Do the same exact thing. Look how good those colors work together, that triadic color scheme that we put together. Looks super nice. Wonderful, vibrant color. Nice color blends transitioning from one to the next. Super good. Alright, the last step for our flowers. We're going to color the background. I'm going to use the same colors. Since we kept it a triadic color scheme, we're going to keep it a triadic color scheme. I'm actually going to get some old crayons. Now, if you don't have old crayons, if you have new crayons, you can still do this. I'm going to get crayons that don't have any wrappers on them. These are old crayons that I had lying around. That's why I tell people, don't throw away your crayons, because you can still use these, and you can still make some amazing art out of these. You can take a crayon that isn't perfect anymore, and you can just take it, and you can break it in half, and you can peel the paper off of it. All I'm going to do is I'm going to use these 3 colors to fill in the background by putting the crayon, laying it down on its side. I don't want to cover up too much of my project, so I'm going to lay it on its side, and I'm just going to pull the crayon across the paper, and you can do it in whatever direction you want. If you want it to look like it's going, maybe ours is curving, you can make it curve like this, and make a cool curving line that goes across your page. The goal here is we're going to make it look like it has a little bit of texture there, and it's going to be lighter than our other colors, so it's going to create that word again, good contrast. So I'm going to make some of those go orange, and then I'm going to switch to purple. I'm going to do some purple right here. Be careful you don't bump into your If you're drawing too much, you can always turn your paper a little bit. Just go right in between those leaves right there and just create this really light textured background. And there you have it, art friends. Your masterpiece is complete. I'd love to see these. So once you guys get done with your artwork today, make sure you send me a picture. Until next time, you guys keep on creating art. Have a good one, everybody. I'll see you soon.